Tyson, Jericho, it was not announced, but teased heavily at the end of last night's Dynamite on Wednesday night. A good segment with the whole pep rally thing. Part of me was kind of worried that when they do this type of shit after a big loss, that it leads to someone getting ousted from the group. Not always like a loss, but like when Randy Orton won the championship at SummerSlam 15 years ago, he got immediately bumped from Evolution the next night. Or Kevin Owens had this big win over as the Universal Champion, whatever. Soon after he knocked off Jericho, and he was out of he betrayed him, whatever. So I was kind of hoping that wouldn't be the case, and they wouldn't like bump out Sammy for losing or some shit like that. Instead, it was Mike Tyson who was advertised to appear, interrupting the pep rally and getting into this Austin Tyson-esque brawl, which it wasn't, but that's clearly what they were going for here. To kind of seemingly set the stage for a future fight in AEW. Now, he had other MMA fighters with him. I'm not overly familiar with who they were. Did you recognize the people that were with Tyson, RJ?
Yeah.
And who they were? Who were they?
Henry Cejudo was with him, Rashad Evans, and I'm trying to think who else was there. I can remember. I don't remember the last guy. But yeah, I at least recognize two of the guys.
Oh, was it not Lafort? I'm thinking Sylvester Lafort.
Vitor Belfort.
Yeah, Belfort. Yeah. I know he was in the crowd, I think, for Double or Nothing. That's why I remember that. What was your reaction to the segment, seeing those guys out there with Tyson? And do you have any excitement at all for a potential Tyson-Jericho match?
Nah, it is what it is, I guess. I mean, I'm not a big fan of it. Just kind of seems kind of random, if you ask me. But we'll see what they can do. I mean, well, I'll go with it because, like you said, at this point, we're already really do with Jericho. So it's definitely interesting, and getting Tyson involved is pretty neat. But definitely wouldn't say I'm like over the top thrilled for it.
So I will say this: pros and cons to this whole Jericho Tyson thing. The pro is that there's a history there. Jericho brought up their history from Raw over 10 years ago, so it's not completely random. Another pro is that Jericho's involved. I mean, the guy is just that. He's a pro. I think he really turns anything he's been involved in recent years to complete gold, whether it was a fucking list or whether he was in Japan or as the AEW World Champion, getting all over all this shit, even a box of, a bottle of wine he got over recently in AEW, his own wine line as the little bit of the bubbly. So I think there's that. The con is that Mike Tyson is 50-something years old. And honestly, dude, looking up his age, I thought he was older. I thought this guy was 60-something. He does not look amazing. I mean, physically, he's in great shape, it seems. And he's been getting in shape recently, which is awesome. He just looks really, really old to me. The other thing is that I know it's a little different, but can you shine some light, dude, on how much different this is than doing Braun and Tyson Fury in WWE? I know Jericho's in better shit, not better, I mean, he's actually older than Braun, and that was just a shit fest from the beginning. But is this really that much different, bringing in a professional boxer, a notable name from outside of pro wrestling, and people fucking shit all over Tyson Fury, which to me made no sense. The guy's a fan, he wants to help out WWE, whatever. I know Tyson is more of a notable name for wrestling fans with the whole Austin thing 20 years ago, and they're kind of copying what they did with that whole thing back in WWF in the Attitude Era. Can you kind of shine some light on how different this is from the whole Tyson Fury Braun Strowman thing late last year?
I would say it's pretty much the same thing. The only kind of difference is I would say Tyson Fury is more of a current. It's more of a. I'm not. I would say he's a bigger name because Tyson's huge, but he's more in the limelight now after that big. Like that was leading up to that big fight that he had. So I mean, yep. I think he had more variety going in at that point, but. It's pretty much the same thing. A well-known boxer versus a wrestler. I mean, the only thing is, I bet you Strowman and Tyson Fury are closer in age. Like they're probably in the same age range, and then Tyson and Jericho are in the same age range. They're older and they're younger. That's kind of the only difference, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know Tyson Fury's a lot younger. And he's obviously in more of his prime than Tyson is, but then Mike Tyson. Very confusing, two different Tysons, but then Mike Tyson is. I don't know. I mean, I'm more excited for Tyson and Jericho, but for people shitting on WWE for like, oh man, why are you bringing in all these celebrities when you could be focusing on your current roster, which I agree with, and I've said that before myself here on the show. Isn't it kind of the same thing, dude, to the AEW? I mean, they've brought in Brian Cage, they brought in Brody Lee, Matt Hardy, the FTR just showed up. Like, do they really need to be building to a Jericho-Tyson feud at this point? Like, when they have other people on the roster that Jericho could be feuding with, like a Darby Allin or something?
Yeah, but I think Jericho's so high as a heel, they need, like, another big baby face for him to go against right now. So I think that's why they're going with that direction. Or just kind of get more namesake. Oh, Mike Tyson's on the show. Trying to get those people in. But besides that, it's the only real benefit I see.
Yeah, just a little bizarre, that's all. I know, with Mike Tyson, they might hope to do a big buy rate for that all-out pay-per-view or Fyter Fest, whatever. I mean, obviously, Jericho's not winning. So, it's just one of those things where they bring in the celebrity, they win, they leave. It doesn't really benefit anyone. I know Jericho's not a young up-and-comer, but, he's already lost the last 2 big pay-per-view matches, so are you going to have him lose again? That's my question. He's already lost the AEW World title. He lost the Stadium Stampede. They might win blood and guts when they do it at some point, but he probably isn't beating Tyson. So it kind of seems like a lose, not a lose-lose, but I don't know, it just kind of puts the roster in a weird position.